All right, and the credits are rolling, and I'm done.
Oh, hey, Kelley. What are you doing there?
Hey, good timing, Mark. I just finished watching Die Another Day for our James Bond Here and There podcast.
What do you mean? We already finished the podcast, right?
No, Mark, we finished the books, but we still have 5 movies to review. Don't tell me you haven't watched any of them.
No, of course. Don't be silly. Yes, I watched them. Just give me a minute. I'll be right back, and we can do this thing.
All right, then, everybody, grab your Omega gadget watches
And your movie Mind Link uploader device,
and join us as we discuss James Bond here in the books
and there in the movies. All right, and this is the final episode. It is the end of an era. We've spent quite a few months on this endeavor, which you can group into 12-month segments and call years if you'd like, but I just say month.
But we're only on part 15. I don't get it.
Yeah, part 15. I'm pretty proud of this one. So we've done all of the books and all of the movies associated with the book. So now we're doing a little roundup episode to kind of sweep the rest under the rug. And we've got one Timothy Dalton and the 4 Pierce Brosnan movies after his. And for those who don't know, the reason we're not doing the Daniel Craig ones is that we've done a Good Bad podcast episode on 3 of those, and we kind of did a little quick overview of the 4th one that I didn't do for my picks.
But we will talk a little bit about the 5th one just by showing the trailer. So,
yeah,
are you guys excited?
I am for the new movie.
Yeah, well, for anything, for this episode, for the new movie.
I'm excited for this. I'm both. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun on this episode, and I'm just want to say a personal thank you to Kelley for coming along. This was when somebody floated the idea. I think it was Charles floated the idea, and I had only ever met Kelley once. And they're like, "You should do a 15-part series with each other," and we did it.
Yeah,
really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Same here, Mark. It's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. I'm feeling the heartfelt emotion already.
Yes.
We should do a toast.
We should.
Yes, we should.
Not like we planned that or anything.
I just happen to have a martini glass right here.
Why, yes, indeed. A Vesper martini.
Me too.
Shaking his.
Me too. Me too.
There we go. That's better.
There we go.
Unfortunately, I prefer mine stirred, which is not as cool. I know.
Ow, Mark. Ejected from this podcast.
But I stir it with a Walther PPK.
Did you?
If that counts.
Okay. You're back in. That's
I
fine.
shoot a bullet into the glass, and it stirs.
Did you?
Nice. Wow, Charles, that is an.
Oh, that's really hard to drink. That's a lot harder than I thought.
It's foaming, Charles. It's foaming.
It is. It's cold is what it is.
Side. All right, cheers.
Cheers, friends.
Cheers.
For those who know, I'm a teacher and I have students. This is filtered water, so just I'm keeping it clean here, people.
Me too.
Drinking for me. Yeah, Charles. For those listening to the audio, he's got a huge porcelain martini glass with 007 painted on it.
Is there a story behind this glass, Charles? I'm really impressed.
What are you talking about?
His wife likes to paint pottery. We used to paint pottery at this pottery painting place, and I almost feel like.
Oh, that's how I met you, right?
Yeah,
that reminds me.
It was kind of a ghost type situation. I was at the spinning wheel, and you came up behind me and said, "Hey, can I get the glitter paint for my wife? She needs to." So I gave it to you.
And wasn't Unchained Melody playing in the background, if I recall correctly?
Yes,
a little bit. No, this one actually, my wife and I did paint this one.
It looks pretty good.
It does. That's cool.
Thank you.
2 thumbs up.
All right, so I assume we're going in chronological order, unless anybody
Yes.
has any other introductory business. With License to Kill, and Kelley has a synopsis.
Yes. Okay. Episode 15. Fleming is forever. License to Kill. After capturing a drug lord, Felix Leiter is left for dead and his wife is murdered. James Bond goes rogue and seeks vengeance on those responsible as he infiltrates an organization posing as a hitman.
All right, and here is the trailer.
How many times can one man leave you breathless? When you get on his bad side, your number is up. Timothy Dalton is James Bond 007. Licensed to kill.
And that was License to Kill, Timothy Dalton's second and final James Bond installment. And I kind of like this movie for its realism. This is the most, there, Charles got the DVD cover going. This is the most, I guess the last one was...
Oh, wait, that's Living Daylights. Never mind. I got the wrong one, but that was Timothy Dalton.
Yeah, well, that's good, because I couldn't remember the title. So Living Daylights, is definitely 80s era film, but this one, it felt even more so, because, I've said this a couple times during the series, but James Bond supposedly, the villains are, what society is the most worried about at the time, and here we have a drug cartel leader, and so, the war on drugs was big in this era. And so it's realistic, and there's not a lot of spy stuff to it because he resigns from MI6 because of this vendetta. So I like that he's really trying to avenge Felix Leiter, and that gives a strong emotion. But it also makes it feel one of the least James Bond-esque movies because it's all about their relationship and not about Queen and Country. I don't know, Kelley, what do you think?
Well, that I agree with part of that, and then yet at the same time, I feel like we've talked a lot in this series about Bond's bromances with all his various connections across the globe, and Felix Leiter has come up time and again, and so it's really cool to, even though Leiter is not in very much of this movie, the whole thing is about him and avenging him and their relationship, and you see in every frame how important he is to Bond. And they even have such a cool relationship, like he and the wife Della. You see them being pals as well. So you mentioned this last time, Mark, about how Dalton gives a good performance of both the grittier sides of Bond and that kind of more romantic side, and I think that's on full display here. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. It was a good movie, and I like the villain. I forget the actor's name, but Benicio del Toro is in it as well as one of the henchmen. But he seems really convincing as a brutal drug dealer. In fact, the opening scene where he his mistress is cheating on him, and so the guy she's with, he has them take his heart out off stage, and meanwhile he's like whipping her. I'm like, geez, this is a brutal setup. It's one of the more grittier kind of I don't know other word than brutal to say of these villains. So it really makes you hate him off the bat, and there's not a lot that's redeemable about that guy.
Yeah,
I like that they brought Q in a lot in this movie too. He kind of helps out because obviously M isn't helping him at all. So Moneypenny is kind of helping him behind the scenes, and then Q shows up. And I think both movies, this one and Octo Kitty, where Q is actually with him on assignment, it's kind of cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really like so we were talking just briefly about how all the callbacks to Live and Let Die at the novel. And I did not remember, I'm pretty sure I've seen this one, but it's been so long that I really didn't remember very much about it going in. And so I thought that they had just discarded the elements of the shark and Felix Leiter from Live and Let Die. When we watched the movie, I was like, oh, well, all that was in the book and they just threw that away. That was so good. Like, what did they do with all that? And I forgot that they put it in this movie. And so that was cool. But also there was that story that we read in For Your Eyes Only, the Hildebrand rarity. And there obviously there wasn't as much from that in this movie as there was Calling Back to Live and Let Die. But what was his name? Milton Crest was the guy from that. And then
yeah,
the whole thing about him being abusive to his girlfriend and Bond infiltrating the boat and all that. So that was sort of cool because that story just was so it didn't tie into For Your Eyes Only very much. So it was kind of cool to see it randomly pop up here.
That's a good catch. I didn't even think about that. It'd been so long since we read it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like that. Yeah, so in Live and Let Die, and both that movie and this movie, that book and this movie, Felix Leiter, basically gets half eaten by sharks, and that's what's dry. And I don't think they ever mentioned a wife of Felix Leiter in the books, but his wife actually gets killed in the movie early on, and so that's what's fueling him throughout this rampage as he, as like a 2-person army takes down an entire drug cartel. This movie had the feeling of like of Taken to me, but like in Bond form. It's like this. The first 20 minutes are set up, and the rest of the movie is just vengeance, in the best degree. Mm-hmm. So I liked it. I also like the semi trucks at the end. You have Bond driving the cars a lot, but here he's like doing stunts with semi trucks with full trailers on them, and at one point they shoot a rocket launcher through, and he actually tilts it up, and it goes underneath it.
And he like does a wheelie through an explosion in the 18th.
Yeah.
Like da 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 da. Amazing.
It's a little reminiscent of GoldenEye with the tank, which we can talk about in a minute. But yeah, so I mean, I think this was a strong movie, and I like Timothy Dalton. But I don't know much what else to say. I think he's kind of an average Bond for me.
It's interesting. So has he fallen in your estimation? Because I was thinking that last time you said you thought he might be one of the best.
I didn't like him as much he didn't seem as iconic in this one. And just to give a little teaser, maybe because of the following 4 movies we're about to talk about, that Pierce Brosnan, I had forgotten a lot about of his performance. So I don't know. The Bond thing. So and Charles had sent us a little photo where they took the Bond's face, but it was like a strip of Sean Connery, a strip of Timothy Dalton, and all of the different actors. And like that's kind of how I feel. I feel like they've all contributed. They've each contributed such different but equal things. Well, not equal. I mean, George Lazenby with the one movie, but even him we really liked, and I always felt like he had almost the perfect look for James Bond. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Well, I mean, what do you think, Charles? You've been kind of silent on the producer end over there. Like,
hi.
What are your thoughts about this movie?
I hate this movie. I think it's.
I always love asking Charles. You never know what you're gonna get.
I think it's one of the worst Bond movies, actually.
What the heck?
Well, it doesn't. You guys have all kind of danced around it, except your conclusion is it's good. I don't understand it, but it's the least Bond-filling movie, right? Yeah. Like, it does not feel like a Bond movie. In fact, I don't remember what I said last time about Timothy Dalton and Living Daylights, but I liked him. I liked him, and we talked about why he didn't come back. And I looked it up after that last episode, and there were a lot of reasons why he didn't come back. There was some legal issues back and forth with the studio, and about the rights to it, and so a lot of time went by. In fact, it's 6 years between this and GoldenEye, and
oh wow!
Prior to that, they'd pretty much been like every other year, pretty consistently. And so he was, I think he was going to do a third one, but then they wanted him for more, and just all this time went by, and he was very picky about the age of Bond, because they had actually approached him after Connery. And then they approached him after, in the early 80s, when they didn't think Roger Moore was going to do it anymore. So he'd been approached like 2 times before this. And so had Pierce Brosnan, actually. They'd approached Pierce Brosnan in the early 80s. And Pierce Brosnan was really close to doing The Living Daylights, actually. That was like, but he was in contract for Remington Steele, and it went back and forth. And Timothy Dalton finally felt he was the right age. He felt like Bond should be a man in his 40s. And Anyway, from what I understand, you guys have read the books. I haven't, but Timothy Dalton might be the closest overall to how Fleming describes Bond. Physical appearance, the mannerisms, I don't know. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but that's kind of what it seems like I've read from a lot of people.
I could see that in terms of, like, we mentioned the cruel smile or the his cruel upturned lips, and he's got more gravel to him a little bit in the way he talks. And
well, and I know, like Roger Moore, I mean, I know Kelley, how she feels about it, but he did make the Bond, he kept the Bond movies going through the 70s and the 80s. You got to give it to him on that. But they are really silly movies, and they're ridiculous. And then I think part of it is Timothy Dalton comes along, and they're more serious, and there's not as many jokes, and it's much more serious and not necessarily as fun affair. But I like that. The problem is when you get to this movie, it does not feel like a Bond movie. It takes place like with drugs and mostly like with Americans and other. It just, I don't know. I didn't really dig it at all. And it's also the first PG-13 rated Bond. I think it's one of the most violent Bonds. There's a lot of crazy violence in this movie. You guys mentioned the shark attack, but also the guy in the pressure chamber that explodes, and
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's still pretty violent. It doesn't really feel like Bond to me. And this is like what I feel like Austin Powers spoofed later on, these specific things like sharks and all that. I mean, I know they all were pretty violent, but this movie I felt was especially violent, and there was nothing fun about it. And I didn't like any of the characters, and Bond just, he wasn't charming. He didn't feel like Bond. I don't know. I just didn't like him at all in this movie.
I do agree that it feels the least like a Bond movie. Sorry, Kelley, you were about to say something.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say that the different actors do bring a little bit different of a tone to all the movies that they play him in, but in the book, and so I mean, you're right. Like, it's a little less intensely violent in the movies, but in the books, like, there actually is quite a bit more just graphic violence than we like the thing with the shark ripping off Felix Leiter's arm and his leg, and even the humor is not so on the surface in the books. It's darker, like grittier humor, and that the note that's pinned to Leiter's form when he finds him in the body bag, he disagreed with something that ate him. Yeah. That was straight out of the book, which, like, that is a horrifying thing. I mean,
that was cool. I felt like a lot of it, I don't know. I think I felt like it was excessive in a lot of ways, and then just too dark and gritty for my taste. Like, I feel like you could have put a different character in there other than Bond. This could have been Die Hard. You could have put John McClane in there.
Yeah.
And it would have been the same movie.
Well, and the whole him pretending to be an assassin, and I think that happened in one of the books too, and it just is never convincing to me that they wouldn't immediately find him out. Or it was The Man with the Golden Gun, the book. Bond just shows up and is like, "Hey, you should hire me as help because you don't know me at all, and I'm definitely not a spy."
Okay, so that does bother me. Yeah. Maybe you guys know this. Why does he always give his real name when he's doing this stuff?
I never understood that either.
Like, is Bond the real name? I assume it is. And he like goes up and it's like, I feel like he was gonna have a fake ID with a different name on it. And it's like, what's your name? Bond, James Bond. Well, okay.
This was before Google, Charles, so give him some credit.
Say, all right, whatever, Mr. Dalton. That's cool.
Yeah. It's in every movie, though. I've never understood that. I think a couple times he uses a pseudonym.
So I guess they're not connected, right? Then because if they don't know who James Bond is by now in all these different universes, I don't know. Anyway, go ahead, Mark, with what you're saying.
In the book Diamonds Are Forever, it was just James Bond taking out an American gangster group, which isn't so different from the plot of this movie where he's dismantling a drug cartel, and it happens a lot in America. But you are right. Watching it didn't feel as much like a Bond movie, although Q was in it a lot. I mean, it still had elements.
I like Q, like you said. I like that he was an expanded role in this. I thought that was pretty cool. I did appreciate that. So,
but it seems so unfair sometimes to level these critiques against them, because when Casino Royale came around, and it was so great because the gritty reboot was the thing of the time. And I think this, a lot of this stuff is just too early, too before it's time. Before we,
I would agree with you that on Living
right.
Daylights, I feel like he struck a good balance on that movie. I think that's one of the better Bonds, actually. But this one's just, for me, it's bottom 5 easily. So
it in terms of that, Charles, it probably wouldn't be one that I would run out and rent again to watch if I was doing a Bond spree, but not terrible. It wasn't not entertaining.
I like the bad. I like the bad guy.
Good.
I like the bad guy in it. Robert Davi, however you say his name. I liked him a lot, and I liked Benicio del Toro. I thought he was great in it too. But yeah, so I agree with you on all those fronts. I don't know, didn't have the secret sauce for me on this one.
I liked that it was a little bit different. I liked that it wasn't as much like exactly like all the other ones, because some of the other ones are, certain parts of them are a little bit interchangeable. Like they just all, even after having watched them so recently, I kind of can't remember which part went with which movie, but this one feels more distinct because it's not as...
Well, I give you, because it sucks so much. No, sorry. Sorry. No,
sucking can be a level of distinction.
You I think you brought up a good point last time, Mark. It's
I usually do.
It's what are you looking for in a Bond movie? Is like how you approach it. It's like if you're looking for a bunch of good one-liners and some good action and sexy ladies, that stuff, then you'll probably like most of these movies. But I don't feel like this one really did any of that. So like, I don't know, whereas when you get into the Pierce Brosnan ones, I feel like they stuck to that, and you get your Bond that if that's what your experience is, that's what you're used to.
Well, to this one movie's credit, it did have one of the worst one-liners in it, which was, he met a dead end. It's like you can say that about anybody you kill ever. You need more wit than that, Dalton.
And trivia for you guys, the same director directed every Bond movie in the 80s. John Glenn.
Nice.
Including, these two, the Living Daylights and this
and
movie.
Went to the Moon.
Yep, yeah, they did.
It was the same John Glenn.
Same one, yeah. I thought you were referencing Moonraker, and I was like, I don't know if that was in the 80s.
All right. Kelley, did you have anything else to add before we move on to GoldenEye?
Nope.
All right.
About it.
So GoldenEye?
Yeah.
All right. Who's doing the synopsis for that one?
I'll do it. You want to trade off, Kelley?
Yeah,
We'll
sure.
switch back and forth.
Okay.
Years after a friend and fellow 00 agent is killed on a joint mission, a secret space-based weapons program known as GoldenEye is stolen. James Bond sets out to stop a Russian crime syndicate for using the weapon.
And here is the trailer.
When the world is the target
72 hours ago, a secret weapon system was detonated over Severnaya.
and the threat is real,
GoldenEye exists. A radiation surge that destroys everything with an electronic circuit.
you can still depend on one man.
I want you to find GoldenEye.
3,
Find who took it.
2,
And stop it.
1.
Name's Bond. James Bond.
The world's most famous secret agent is back.
We aim to please.
And this time, 007 is facing the ultimate enemy. The man who knows him best.
Hello, James. What an unpleasant surprise.
006.
What's the matter? No pithy comeback?
He was your friend, and now he's your enemy, and you will kill him.
Is the satellite in range? Target is London.
Now, the entire world is about to be caught in the crossfire.
See you in hell, James. You first. Kill him.
The pleasure will be all mine.
Did you check her out? Head to toe.
3 clicks, arms the fuse. Don't say it.
The writing's on the wall?
Grow up, 007.
I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur, a relic of the Cold War.
You know, James, I was always better.
Both of you, stop it! You like boys with toys. Trick is to quit while you're still ahead.
I wouldn't think of it.
Charming, sophisticated secret agent. Shaken but not disturbed.
Get us out of here!
Bond. Only Bond. Man just won't take a hint.
need the gun.
That depends on your definition of safe sex.
On November 17th, United Artists brings you,
Trust me.
James Bond.
Why can't you just be a good boy and die? That's one trick I've never learned.
And that was GoldenEye, the iconic Pierce Brosnan reboot. As Charles said, this was, 6 years later?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the Nintendo 64 game really popularized this movie as well. One of the great first-person shooters.
I have a trailer for that as well. If we could play that a little bit later on.
Yeah. So Kelley, you want to start with your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I really like GoldenEye. I don't know what it is. The Pierce Brosnan era, it just makes me so nostalgic because the Brosnan Bonds were the first ones that I ever watched, and I watched them with my dad, and so every time I watch them, it like makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside, and I get transported back into being in the 8th grade and doing movie marathons on the weekends and stuff, and that was something we could always share. And I think Brosnan is a really good Bond.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm distracted by Charles's sipping of his.
What am I doing?
Enormous martini.
It's like the size of a planet in the screen.
It's like the Moonraker satellite.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Kelley. I apologize.
It's okay. But yeah, I mean, I really like Bond. I like Brosnan as Bond. He brings such a suaveness to him, and he's a little bit. I seem to remember feeling like he didn't often get dirty and like was a little more posh than some of the others. But when I rewatched these, I was like, okay, he does. He gets pretty dirty. He takes tumbles, and I must say that the Brosnans have to be the explodiest Bonds.
Oh yes, yes.
So many explosions.
I think I wrote that down somewhere. It was like everything explodes. How much gasoline and combustible stuff is in all these? Yeah. So my experience of the Brosnan movies, my memory of them is that they were all terrible. And me and my brother-in-law kind of like to make fun of them and put the Brosnan movies down. But then when I watched GoldenEye, I'd forgotten how great this movie is. Mm-hmm. And I'll get to my opinion of the other three in a minute. But this movie's great. Like, I have very few complaints about this movie. I think Xenia Onatopp is a little over the top, not to pun, getting, just pleasure of one kind from killing.
No more foreplay.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite lines.
But the scene the first scene where we see her crushing the guy with her legs, I mean, that's like a horrifying thought, to be like, have your circulation cut off at your waist. I don't know. There's something so horribly brutal about that just makes me cringe when I see it. But I mean, she was still good. I like the villain. And the plot's great with with spoilers ahead, but with his, spoilers being the enemy, and
they show that in the trailer, so it's not much of a spoiler.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, hello, James. Like, okay.
No, I guess it was like halfway through the movie with the plot twist. It wasn't at the very end, but
it's Sean Bean. Sean Bean. It's always something's going to happen to him.
Boromir, and also Dead Ned from Game of Thrones.
He's such a good villain.
He is.
Yeah, he was great. The casting overall is great in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
With what was the character's name? The female character with Boris and Natalia.
I think Natalia.
Natasha. It's one of those.
Natalia.
I do not like Boris at all.
I mean, he is who he is. I mean, for what he is, he's kind of the goofy relief a little bit. And although it was funny because Bond has the exploding pin, and at one point there's that scene. It's a really great suspenseful scene where Boris is like typing and flipping the pin and clicking it, and 3 clicks arms it, 3 clicks disarms it, and Bond's having to keep track. But like, how do you, as a programmer, how do you only do it one hand? I'm sure it's possible, but it seems like you would need both hands to do it faster. But because he's trying to do it really quickly to disarm it, but maybe he's just using the number pad. I don't know. But that part bothered me. It's like in CSI when at one point there was an episode where one person's typing on a keyboard and another one comes up and starts typing with them on the same keyboard. And it's like, it's not how keyboards work.
Typing.
Your minds aren't that similar.
Yeah.
So, but man, this movie's so good. And
It is.
so Brosnan, I really like Brosnan. After watching some of these, despite the detractions I have from them, I really like him. I mean, he's one of my more favorites in this. And I think if he was younger, like I think if he had done it when he was younger, he could have kept going.
Yeah, I agree. Because he did not. I mean, even in Die Another Day, he didn't feel like
he didn't feel like Roger Moore in what's the last one? I can't even think of the last one. 85. What's the last one Roger Moore did?
It was Octopussy.
No, he did one after that with Christopher Walken.
View to a Kill.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah, because he felt old in that movie.
Yeah, and then Connery too did at the end of his turn.
That's
and
true.
So Brosnan, like I'm sure he definitely looked like, having watched them all in chronological order and like being familiar in my mind with Die Another Day, and then seeing him again in GoldenEye in the trailer just now, I'm like, wow. He really does look a lot younger. You can tell time has passed, but he held on to it a little better, I think, than some of the others.
Yeah.
I really like the opening stunt in this movie off the dam. That's a cool scene. It's one of the best openings I think to any Bond. And I love the GoldenEye theme, the Tina Turner song in this one.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like this movie, I like it, and I do like it a lot. It's one of the better Bonds. But they just go so over the top, as you mentioned, the villain and all that. But they go on other stuff too. It's like, okay, so the end of that opening sequence, he has to dive off a cliff to catch a plane in midair. And it's like, really? Do we have to do that too? We've already done all these cool things. Like, it's just too much. And him driving a tank through all of... That's just ridiculous.
Disagree.
You like
there? Yeah, I think you have to have a very fine touch with those kinds of elements. Where tomorrow, like the next three, do not have that fine touch of, is this too far? Is this too cheesy, chintzy? But I think I just like him driving the tank, and he's like sitting up out of the tank, driving the tank like a normal chase scene, and it was tongue in cheek enough, but I think both of those stunts just really worked for me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the movie. I really do. It's a good Bond, and I like Pierce Brosnan a lot. Some of those moments really bug me, and as I said, I don't like Boris at all. Like Boris, his whole screaming he's invincible thing just annoyed me every time, and I don't know.
But this is the movie that brought us Judi Dench as M. And how awesome is she? She's totally the best one, in my opinion.
She's great, and I love her. I love how they updated Bond. They brought it into, not quite, but the almost the 21st century in terms of her calling him a relic, misogynistic. That's cool. Like, puts him in his place right away, and she's fantastic in it, as you say. And it's kind of cool that they carried her into the Daniel Craig movies, even though it doesn't make sense. But she's that good in the role.
Yep.
Yeah, I liked her a lot, and I like their relationship a lot. The M and the other movies, I liked them, but it just kind of felt stale after a while, and this one brought some energy into it, which is kind of interesting because the Daniel Craig movies, basically up to Skyfall, they were doing the same thing, and then they decided to kind of bring it back to the way it was in the 60s with Sean Connery. They've like reset the whole franchise and bring in Blofeld and all that, so it's interesting.
It is interesting.
I don't know if this applies or not, but on Saturday Night Live, like Lorne Michaels, the producer, used to say that you always liked the cast that was on Saturday Night Live when you were in high school. And I wonder if that applies to Bond. If you generally like the Bond that you were in high school and you were kind of coming around of age when you're watching that, or maybe even in junior high, I just wonder if that applies here. Just because I feel like a lot of people around our age love Pierce Brosnan, and then people that are older or younger just can't stand him. So it's interesting to me.
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of truth to that. Maybe, I mean, it might just have to do with nostalgia, or it might, I don't know. But I mean, I think you could say that about a lot of things, like music and.
Well, yeah. It's just but I just wonder if that applies for you. I mean, or for you guys. I mean, I know we're probably in this podcast we're going to talk about your favorite Bonds, but I don't want to do any spoilers. But I just wonder if that applies to you guys.
Yeah, and these were some of the first ones I saw in theater. Not some of these were the first ones I saw in theater. I know I saw The World's Not Enough in theater because I remember being awkwarded out with watching with my dad at the intro scene with the music. Like, oh, those are naked women covered in oil. This is weird. But yeah, so like going and getting that experience, in the theater with the action sequences, and I owned the not only GoldenEye, but I owned The World Is Not Enough video game, and it was a pretty cool video game too.
Well, speaking of that, do you want to do the trailer for the N64 game?
Yeah.
Okay. It's pretty short. It's like less than a minute.
Cool.
Introducing GoldenEye 007. The first Bond adventure. Where you direct the action.
Do you know how to use one of these?
Shot by shot by shot. Load a rumble pack and see how it feels when 007 meets Nintendo 64.
Yeah, I went back and played that game it was a year or two ago, and I thought, oh, this is going to be great. And the controls are garbage. It's like one of the most difficult games to play if you go back. After playing Modern Warfare 3 or whatever, it was awesome. At the time, it was amazing, and I spent hours of my childhood playing that game. All right. The next movie we'll look at will be Tomorrow Never Dies.
All right, Tomorrow Never Dies. James Bond sets out to stop a media mogul's plan to induce war between China and the UK in order to obtain exclusive global media coverage.
Action stations.
Aye, aye, sir. Sound the general alarm.
The Chinese pilot insists we're inside their territorial waters and he will fire.
An act of violence.
Torpedo, torpedo, torpedo.
It was an unprovoked attack on a ship in international waters.
The promise of war.
And instead of decisive action, all you want to do is investigate.
My goal is to prevent World War III, Admiral.
Now, the world has only one chance for peace.
When will our ships be in position? 48 hours.
And just one man for the job.
Bond. James Bond.
How much do you know about Elliot Carver, 007?
Worldwide media ban. Those newspapers, radio, satellite TV.
There's no news. Like bad news.
I understand you once had a relationship with Carver's wife.
Was it something I said?
How about the words, I'll be right back? I'm from the New China News Agency.
Looking for a news story?
Could have taken care of him.
Let the mayhem begin.
Your new BMW. Will you need collision coverage?
Yes.
Property destruction?
Definitely.
Personal injury?
Accidents do happen.
Grow up, 007.
You seem to have developed a certain attachment.
I get to work with a decadent agent of a corrupt Western power.
I think you found the right decadent, corrupt Western agent as a partner.
Phase 2 is underway.
This holiday season.
The hell is he doing?
His job. The world belongs to Bond.
When you remove Mr. Bond's heart, there should just be enough time for him to watch it stop beating. I would have thought watching your TV shows was torture enough.
All right. And that was that movie, Tomorrow Never Dies. This is the most I forgot for a second. This is the most like James Bondy title that I can think of.
Yeah.
But it does die when it becomes today, right? Anyway. Mm-hmm. So in some ways the next three Brosnan movies, including this one, just all seem interchangeable to me, kind of like you mentioned earlier, Kelley. this one stands alone a little bit because it's the media mogul, and that seems just not very threatening to me. I like the actor; he was in the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy as well,
and the two popes.
Dad. I haven't seen that. That's right, because anyway, I saw the clip from that. But so I don't know. This started this trend of getting back into the cheese factor and getting into these over the top, kind of like Charles was mentioning GoldenEye, but this one, like, they just don't pull them off very well. They've got like this huge saw thing that goes underwater into this, and so it can somehow like turn 90 degrees and go up and around easily, and the villain gets thrown into it at the end and doesn't see it coming from like 50 feet away. And I don't know, this none of the next three movies do anything for me really, and I didn't hate watching them, but I didn't really enjoy watching them. And I don't know, Kelly, what do you think? Did you like anything more about this than I did?
This one, I don't really care for this one. It's forgettable to me, like you say. I like the next two installments a lot more. Not that I think they're like cinematic masterpieces necessarily, but I just enjoy them more. I wouldn't say they're ugly either. Like, I like them too much for them to be ugly, but this one, I don't know. My attention kept wandering. I wasn't really invested in the plot. I thought the media mogul was kind of silly and not at all threatening. And I don't know, that part where he was like mimicking the samurai, and I was like, whoa,
that was stupid. Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
What's funny too is that when he's describing his big villainous plan to Bond and the Chinese agent, they're kind of like scoffing at him, like, "Oh, media isn't that influential." Which by today's standards, like, no, media is super influential, and we see, with the Trump election, all this, how much media like hugely factors into what people think and do.
Yep.
On every aspect. So that was kind of funny to me that they were so scoffing at it, but it still was kind of a silly plan, and I didn't quite understand the plan. He wanted rights to distribute all of his news in China, right? And so he was trying to start a war between China, but I didn't quite understand how that was going to help him. And what did he like? Was he ransoming some or blackmailing, or I don't know.
I think he was just trying to stir up trouble between them so that he could be there to first report on it, because he knew it was going to happen because he started it, and then they would seem the most, on the pulse or whatever. But that was my impression. But
at some point Bond said, "Oh, and then you'll have exclusive media rights for the next 100 years in China for some." But anyway.
Yeah, I don't really remember all the intricacies of that. Kind of tells you, it's telling.
Yeah, they had a like radar-free boat they were driving around in, and just silly. I like Terry Hatcher; she did a good job, but then she dies like super early, and then she's gone. There's all these. This happened in License to Kill too. Like some of the women, when they're the villain's mistress, I feel like they're very uncareful. Like with Bond, like she just goes and talks to him at this party, and obviously it's this media mogul who has microphones everywhere.
And again, he said his name was Bond. He walks up.
Right, yeah.
He's like a banker, but he's James Bond banker. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, and I forgot I do like the original 64.
Nice. Yeah. Once you can, and my brother texted me, show that again, Charles, because you sent us the picture where it kind of outlines where his mouth.
Yeah.
If you look next to the gun, it looks like his mouth is kind of elongated to one side. And
yeah, it really does. Once you see it, yeah. So.
I mean, it's like right in front of you, and it opens large doors. Okay, so yeah, this movie was silly to me. It was probably one of the silliest of the Pierce Brosnans. Probably the ugliest. You say it wouldn't quite be ugly, Kelly, but I would probably call it. I'd probably call parts of it ugly.
Yeah, I just didn't. It didn't have the secret sauce that makes it ugly for me. But I can see how it would be.
It's very average for me. Not enough to be ugly by any means.
It's like equal to the 70s ones with the actor whose name I can't remember.
And you sure you're drinking water?
Yes, pure Nestle filtered water. Yeah. But it kind of like harkens back to those days. At the very end, they're like under the cover of something. It's like, let's stay undercover. Mm-hmm. Okay. So. All right.
Kind of like that.
Anything else to say?
No, not really.
Let tomorrow actually die.
Yep.
Shall we move on to, or actually, we should probably take a break for our sponsor, Fleming Brand. At this point, I think we're about halfway through. If we can, they get kind of mad when we push it too late.
All right, let's do it.
This episode of James Bond Here and There is brought to you by Fleming Brand Last-Ditch Villain Ideas. When you reach the bottom of the barrel of your spy thriller villain quirks, leave it to Fleming Brand to provide you with some more. You can't go wrong with quirks like the following: Cybertronic eyeball that shoots lasers, giant pitchfork for a leg, belly button that's actually a mouth with really sharp teeth, a mechanical hand where each finger is a miniaturized weapon, diamond acne. That's right, Fleming Brand Last-Ditch Villain Quirk Ideas is the cure for what ails ya. Fleming Brand, products for you. And now back to the program.
Yeah, we're back.
All right, so let me refill with my... This is Fleming Brand vodka water. 0% alcohol, but still tastes like a shaken martini. Just a huge shout out to Fleming Brand for sponsoring all 15 of these episodes. We couldn't have done it without them. You know, the time it takes. A lot of you don't know the time it takes to research this, watch the movies, the 7 minutes on IMDb looking up trivia. We just wouldn't be able to do that.
Read the books.
Read the books without Fleming Brand. So thank you to Fleming Brand. All right, so we're moving on to The World Is Not Enough.
Indeed we are.
Where James Bond uncovers a nuclear plot while protecting an oil heiress from her former kidnapper, an international terrorist who can't feel pain.
And here we go with the trailer.
As the countdown begins to the 21st century, it's good to know there is still one number you can always count on.
Bond.
Bond.
Can't you just say hello like a normal person?
Renard is behind this.
He will die, along with everyone in the city.
We do not negotiate with terrorists.
His only goal is chaos.
I sent 009 to kill Renard. He put a bullet in his head. That bullet's still there.
He feels no pain. He can push himself harder, longer than any normal man.
No hard feelings, Mr. Bond.
It appears that you have been beaten.
Stop! Don't make this personal.
I can't do that.
I just can't help thinking I'm next.
New model?
The very latest in intercepts and countermeasures, and 6 beverage cup holders. I've always tried to teach you 2 things. First, never let them see you bleed.
And the second?
Always have an escape plan.
For the world's greatest secret agent.
You've diffused hundreds of these, right?
When the stakes are high.
Yeah, but they're usually standing still.
Life's full of small challenges.
And the danger hits too close to home.
He has M.
By noon tomorrow, you'll feel nothing at all.
I thought it was your job to protect me.
It's not just professional.
Someone's tampered with the bomb!
It's personal.
I have to get it back, or somebody's gonna have my butt.
First things first. I'm gonna find him.
Who's afraid now, Mr. Bond?
I will not miss.
I never miss.
Do you want to put that in English? For those of us who don't speak spy?
Why am I suddenly worried I'm not carrying enough insurance?
Your time is up.
The world is not enough.
All right, that was The World Is Not Enough. These 2 movies, especially for me, are interchangeable because they both have terrible female leads. I hate Denise Richards in this movie, and I hate Halle Berry in Die Another Day. I don't hate Halle Berry or Denise Richards. I actually kind of like them, but they are terrible in these movies. And her name is Christmas Jones.
Yeah,
I mean,
they do it just for that one joke at the end. That's
the one-liner at the end. That's
I
it.
guarantee.
And, man. And you've got the problem I have with this one, or is it the next one as well? Isn't there the same plot line where the female role is like a double agent and she ends up turning on him, right? In this one and in the next one, right?
Yeah.
Wait,
well,
did she in this one? I don't think she was a double.
No, she's not a double agent, but she was. She did turn on him.
Yeah, and Die Another Day, it ends up the girl that went with him to the ice palace was also bad.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's just the oil heiress.
But
she's
they act
secretly
good
bad.
at first. They act like they're on M side at first, and they're close with him.
Right. Which is crazy that a civilian would be that close with M16 intelligence, or not? Or is it not M16? MI6.
I do that too.
Yeah.
So, but I kind of like the villain who had the bullet in his head that's digging deeper into his skull. That's super over the top, but kind of cool that he can't feel pain and that he's whatever. And that she had Stockholm syndrome, and that was that's a real thing that could happen. So I liked this movie when I was young enough to like it, but going back and watching it, and then they've got the choppers with the huge like timber cutting blades, reminiscent of the Octopussy's yo-yo of death.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing here?
I like this movie. I like this movie.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I just said I like this movie.
Yeah, I like it too. This one and Die Another Day, I've probably, I don't know, they're in the top handful that I have seen the most times, and so I always kind of watch them just with like, oh, this is on, I'll just tune in and watch it. It's not an amazing movie, but I enjoy it. I like the Electra King plotline. It did make me laugh rewatching it this time when he like drove his speedboat through the street, because it reminded me of the longest boat
But this one at least didn't have a pigeon doing a double take where they just rewind the footage of the pigeon.
Oh my gosh.
I know it's not the same. It's not Pepper, but which movie is it GoldenEye? It's that, what's his name? I think it's Joe Baker or John Baker. He's the guy that's like kind of like the Felix Leiter. He was in GoldenEye, and he played a different character in The Living Daylights. Kind of the overtop American guy.
Yeah, with like the Hawaiian shirts. And
yes,
stuff.
he was in this movie as well. Which one was he in? He was in a couple of the Pierce Brosnan ones.
I think it was this one. I think it was
this one in GoldenEye, I thought. And then also you have the guy that would play Hagrid in the Harry Potter movies. He's in this, reprising his role from GoldenEye as well. So they're kind of like the thing with the Pepper. They're bringing back these recurring characters, and it's like, well, are they good? I don't know. Do we like them? I don't know.
Yeah.
So
we don't.
But they keep bringing them back anyway. So.
Right.
Maybe it's like they think if they include them enough times, we'll be like, okay.
Right. I feel like some of the one-liners were really like bad in this movie. It's like we mentioned the Christmas July thing, or the Christmas, whatever her name is, Christmas Jones, like that. That's a really bad pun. And
then they have the more obscene line at the very end where like he says Christmas only comes once a year.
Yeah, he's like, I thought Christmas only came once a year. It's like,
come on, it's a little graphic.
That and like the whole, isn't this the one where they're talking about pumping, like a pumper for information? Oh yeah, that's like
one thing I forgot to mention. Even in GoldenEye, maybe in GoldenEye, but definitely Tomorrow Never Dies. There is this there's this kind of like feminist twist where they're in the car driving, and it's like, all right, Bond. It's kind of like they're whoring Bond out to pump people for information. It's kind of a funny little twist because he's just sitting there like, all right, I guess. Thanks, Mom. It's like, it's weird.
I don't know what it is. I can feel the hypocrisy wafting off of me even as I say this, but because how well you both know that I don't really like the cheesiness of the Roger Moore one-liners. The Pierce, he has exactly as many, and they're exactly as bad, but I don't know why, but they don't bother me in the Brosnan movies. I kind of enjoyed them. I don't know. I cannot put my finger on the subtlety of like how it's different, but it feels different somehow.
It's the same. It's the same.
Well, no, it's not the same because the context. The movies are, the production value has gone way up since the 70s, and I think Pierce Brosnan pulls them off with a little bit of a more serious tinge to them than Roger Moore, who's like
Well, I agree with you on that.
Slapstick comedy show Bond.
Yes, I agree. Timothy Dalton not Timothy Dalton. Pierce Brosnan is he's a good combination of like Sean Connery and Roger Moore. He's kind of got the classic like spy look to him and the good look for the part, but he's got a lot of the silliness from Roger Moore. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess maybe that's what it kind of feels like having your cake and eating it too. Like some of the things that he's a good crossover Bond.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with you on that. But still, those lines, to me, they're as cringe-inducing as they are with the Roger Moore ones.
Yeah, they really are. And can you imagine Daniel Craig giving one of those in the new ones? Like, did he ever do anything like that? No.
He started to Inspector. He did like a couple of them, and I was like, oh no, we're going back there. But do you remember
the ghost of Roger Moore is returned?
Well, like I said, they did seem like they were trying to go back to the beginning. So maybe that's who knows what the next one will be like. It's gonna be interesting.
Remember that scene where I forget what he was like jumping from building to building or something, and something crashed through, and there was a couch that like fell down into the alleyway, and he fell down the thing and landed perfectly sitting on the couch. And
in the beginning, that's the opening scene in Mexico. It's like, what?
Was that in Inspector?
That's Inspector at the beginning of that one.
Was that in the Day of the Dead scene?
Yeah. Right? And then the helicopter like fire at him, or I don't remember. It's all part of that sequence, but it's ridiculous. Well, I'll buy you a delicatessen.
It's not that bad. But at one point he lands through the roof of a train or something, and then stops and just adjusts his cuffs.
That's in Skyfall.
That's what I thought.
But that's cool. He's already on top of he's on top of the train, just jumps into it. Like, yeah, that's cool. Like,
yeah,
does his cuff and walks on.
I need to watch Spectre again because I only saw it once and I did not like it.
Yeah, me either.
Theater. I mean, I feel like we're set for a good one because Casino Royale was great, and then the next one not so great. Quantum of Solace, Skyfall was great. Spectre I didn't like at all. So
it's kind of like the opposite of the Star Trek series because they always say Star Trek movies, it's the even numbered ones that are good. Seems like nice. Daniel Craig's are the odd ones. We'll see. It's his last one. He's going out with a bang.
Yep. So they say anyway. Didn't he say that last time?
Well, he's definitely saying it this time. Last time he said he would rather slit his wrist than play Bond again, and then he played Inspector and No Time to Die. But yeah, this is definitely it. Because apparently he gets... Well, I know we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves on this one, but he does get beat up really bad on all these. And I was thinking about it, like, he started this in 2006, which is when, Casino Royale came out. So he's been doing this for 14 years. And if you even think about like the Sean Connery ones, Sean Connery didn't do his original run that long, and Roger Moore took over in like 74, I think. So Roger Moore did for about 11 years. Yeah. So I think Daniel Craig has done it the longest amount of time, but he hasn't done. He's done 5 movies. He's behind Moore and Connery. So anyway.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be good, and I hope it's going to be good. And I just hope that he doesn't. I hope his feelings of being over it don't shine through, because I kind of feel like they did in Spectre, and so hopefully he felt that same way. Together for one more hurrah.
His lips are also always chapped. Have you all noticed that?
No, I haven't.
In Spectre, I noticed it, and in now it's going to be one of those things you can't unsee. But in Knives Out, I just watched that last week. And his lips are always chapped and wrinkled. Anyway, I feel like he's. I don't want to say this rudely, but I feel like he's also not aging well. I feel like his features are just getting more pronounced. Like in Knives Out, his eyes look a little more sunken. I mean, he still has he's still a good-looking man. I'm not saying he's not, but I don't know. It's kind of like in Knives Out, I was noticing it. It's like, that's kind of interesting. Or maybe they just don't do. I feel like maybe they don't do makeup on him very well because his skin always looks kind of.
What are we talking about?
Lips are dry. Are you? I'll send you a picture.
I don't know. I'm just saying we're talking about makeup on Daniel Craig and like sunken eyes. I don't know.
He just doesn't look youthful. His skin always looks kind of dry or sallow or something. I don't know. Kelley?
Maybe.
No, I do. I agree with you, Mark.
Okay.
I think he's showing a little bit. I mean, agreed. Still totally.
But again, he's played it for the longest amount of time too, and I'm sure you both agree, he's much more physical in this role than any of the other Bonds were. Yeah. So I think he gives it. Physically, at least 110%, even if he shows signs of being kind of bored with it, or not bored with it, but over it. So, but he was saying something about he does less and less of his stunts in each of these movies. Like in Casino Royale, he wanted to do as many as he could and really get after it. But yeah, so he's in his 50s, right? So, yeah.
All right, well, should we go on to our anything else anybody wants to talk about for The World Is Not Enough?
No, I like this. I like this movie. I don't hate it at all, and I don't even mind Denise Richards in it. She's not in it enough. I like the main woman. I like her. So, anyway, you guys ready to move on?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Show Daniel Craig. It's hard to see detail there.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I do hope I look that good when I'm 50, but.
I'll call you up and be like, Mark, your eyes are looking pretty sunken into your head. Get you some,
did you not put makeup on this morning, Mark? Jeez. All right. Who's doing the synopsis?
So critical. I think Kelley is.
Okay. Die Another Day. James Bond is sent to investigate the connection between a North Korean terrorist and a diamond mogul who is funding the development of an international space weapon.
And here's the trailer.
Your freedom came at too high a price.
The mission was compromised. The same person who set me up then has just set me up again. So I'm going after him. Got your attention.
Tell me what you know of James Bond.
He'll light the fuse on any explosive situation.
Show me the diamonds. Don't blow it all at once.
What happened to you?
Bond.
And be a danger to himself and others.
I'm going to let him mix things up a little.
My friends call me Jinx.
My friends call me James Bond.
Wow, now there's a mouthful.
Who sent you?
Your mama.
Glad you can make it, Mr. Bond.
I see you don't chase dreams, you live them.
One of the virtues of never sleeping. I have to live my dreams.
Time to draw the line.
Well, it seems you've become useful again.
Maybe it's time you let me get on with my job. So, this is where they keep the old relics in, eh? Twist so, voila! You know, you're cleverer than you look.
Better than looking cleverer than you are.
James, be careful.
A nice palace can be such a treacherous place.
I take it Mr. Bond's been explaining his Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, I think I got the thrust of it.
Must you touch everything?
Would you like to show me more?
Kill him.
Now! 1,000 meters and closing.
Put you back into it, eh? Let's get down to business.
Looks like we're going down together.
Not yet!
All right. Die Another Day. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday, but not today. So, as I mentioned already, Halle Berry, not the best in this movie. I think she's a good actress. I've liked her in a lot of stuff she's done. And I feel like she's just weird in this movie or not serious. Like she's, I don't like more in the role of this like kooky, cheesy side character. I don't know. Her performance, just the way she delivered her lines was not realistic.
I don't know. I can appreciate what you're saying, but it didn't bother me for some reason. I like her in it. I mean, she is, maybe they played up the Jinx element too much or something, but I did like I felt like there were a few little callbacks in this movie to earlier, like some of the original 60s Bond movies. And her first scene coming out of the water with the bathing suit with the thick white belt on was a cool callback to Ursula Andress and Dr. No. And
I did like that.
Well, yeah, the whole movie was kind of that way because I think it was the 40th anniversary or something of the movies. I think, if I'm not mistaken. And so they were definitely throwing in a bunch of stuff, even the plot with the satellite and the diamonds and all that.
But then you have this henchman with diamonds embedded in his skin that they could have just removed with tweezers. Like, obviously, why did he decide to keep them in, or I don't know. It's so stupid. And the scene with the cars out on the ice, they're like driving, and then the next second they're on like this huge ice capade. And then they're driving through the ice palace and can fit and maneuver and
see, all of that just feels on brand to me. It's like
no, I don't. I disagree with that. This one, it's one of the most ridiculous Bonds. Like this,
I love it.
This would take the this is so much cheesier than even the Roger Moore ones. I don't know how you can defend that. You just really hate Roger Moore. That's what this is. That's what it's boiling down to. Poor man. He's the only Bond that's passed away, and you just dump on him.
I'm sorry, Ghost of Roger Moore.
That man carried the franchise on his back through the 70s and most of the 80s.
He's gonna like haunt you with bad one-liners.
Oh,
like you do some mistake in your kitchen and like you cut yourself on accident. Like, she got the point with the martini. He's just in the background.
What a twist!
Oh man, this movie. And I wrote down in my notes, things explode so easily, to reference what you mentioned earlier, Kelley. It's definitely had it.
And it's got your girl in it, Kelley. You love her, and she's so bad in this movie.
She is pretty bad in this, I'm not gonna lie. But this is really, if not her breakout role, I think it was even her breakout role, but this was one of her earliest things. And so I gotta cut my girl some slack because she was still finding her feet. But she has a place in my heart.
Who's your girl?
Rosamund Pike. Miranda Frost.
Okay.
Miranda Frost. Jeez.
Her character was so silly, and she was she acted it very woodenly, but
she was better than Halle Berry in my opinion.
She was. I agree with you on that. Like, Halle Berry was pretty bad in this, but that's, again, it's just the way the character is written too. It's very cheesy. It reminds me of Beyonce's character in the third Austin Powers movie, Foxy, whatever her name is.
Shazam? Was it Foxy Shazam? No, that's a band. Never mind.
I don't remember. But
Cleopatra, Foxy Cleopatra.
That's right.
That's what it is.
That's right. But I love this opening sequence though, because for the first, like, as far as I know, it's one of the first times and only times they did the thing where the title sequence actually was directly related to what was happening on screen, because it's his torture, which is cool.
Yeah,
like I was not expecting that. I mean, I know Dr. No did a little bit similar thing where they had the three blind mice, those men kind of walking with canes. They did tie that in a little bit in that movie, but in this one, it's cool. Like, you're seeing the torture and you're seeing the consequences of him being betrayed, and I really like that. I thought that was cool, and I like the Madonna song. I like the Die Another Day song. It's catchy.
Me too.
We were mentioning that during the trailer.
I don't know how I feel about her Madonna making a cameo in this movie. That kind of was weird, but
I liked it.
It was okay, but it took me a little bit out of the movie. Anyway, but I liked the song. So there are some things, like I said, I liked about that. But it's weird to me. I know they set up John Cleese in the last one as taking over for Q, but it is sad that, like, Q passed away in real life, and so now it's John Cleese. Yeah. I didn't like John Cleese in this role at all. I thought it was just weird. And I love John Cleese normally, but I just
I thought he was okay.
I thought he was okay, but I feel like he's so popular, he's so well known that it's odd to have him in the role.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
It's really it's weird that they set him up to be like that role in the last one. It's weird because, like, it's almost like the guy that was playing Q was planning on retiring in real life or something anyway, because it's like it was like a perfect setup. This guy's taken over, but that actor I think of his name, but he was in his 90s and he got in a car wreck. That's how he passed away. It's like you make it that far and you die in a car wreck. Otherwise, I bet Q would still be going along. He'd probably be in the Daniel Craig movies. But anyway, so there's just a lot of goofiness in this movie. Everything's goofy. From like I said, I didn't like John Cleese in this. I didn't like Moneypenny and her like virtual reality session with Bond.
That was funny to me.
That was weird and just nothing. The whole thing where they're changing Asian people into white people. I know they're changing their identity, but it's a weird thing. Like I didn't dig that. I don't know. What did you guys think about that as like a plot device?
I don't even remember that.
Well, both of them changed, like because the main bad guy didn't pass away, and he was changed to
yeah. So I'm sorry, the face changed.
Yeah. Well, it's face everything, and then the other guy's like halfway finished with his change, so he's like, He showed the man he was trying to become, so he's like half. It's weird the way they did it. It almost made him look like an albino.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Yeah. It's cool as a concept that Bond thought he killed this guy, and he comes back and models himself after Bond, but it did seem a little bit. Over the top, and like the rainbow mask they had on doesn't seem like that's how it would be done at all.
It seems really, really, really ridiculous to me. Like I said, I mean, and then like, why does he have the diamonds in his face? Like, why did he keep the glass? Like, I don't understand that part.
So that Halle Berry could ever line about expensive acne.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't care about any of that stuff. That I just I don't know. I don't know why.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised that you like this movie so much.
I do. I don't.
Makes me happy that you do, though.
It's one of the worst for sure. Like yes, it is. This is almost. I mean, I don't know if it would have killed the franchise, but it's definitely terrible, and that's why it took a long time from this one. There's a 4-year gap between this one and the Daniel Craig one.
Yeah, it seems almost like they were going for the kind of movie that would sell merchandise. Because you have like all the ice stuff and the cars, and I don't know. It felt like the Batman movies when they went with Mr. Freeze and Ivy.
It did.
It's like,
well, and and we're not even talking about it. It's the biggest problem with this movie are the special effects, and I don't know why, because this movie came out the same year as The Two Towers and Attack of the Clones. So I don't understand why this movie's effects were so much worse, but they were when Bond is windsurfing on the door, and it just looks so bad and so cheesy. But I like the effect of the car. The invisible car was cool, but
yeah, and I will say the directing on this movie was really well done in terms of the action sequences, and I liked even the color tones of the opening scene. He's wearing kind of more neutral tones, and it kind of reminded me of some of the newer Die Hard movies where it's like all out action sequences and the camera movements were great, but the special effects were, and you could tell they were green screen stuff a lot, and it was kind of hit or miss in those areas.
It's extremely miss.
And since they clearly had a big budget for all of the things that were blowing into smithereens, and so you'd think that they could have spent a little more on effects, but yeah, weird.
I mean, easily this is one of the worst, like, effects wise. Like, I mean, all the other Bonds, it seemed like they actually, I mean, I know they had effects and stuff in them, but all the other Pierce Brosnan ones were better, I thought. So, I mean, I guess some of the earlier Sean Connery ones, they did a lot of rear projection screen stuff, but again, this one just it's that him surfing on that door, just.
What a cool stunt, Charles!
I can't get that image out of my head, and it's not in a good way.
In Tomorrow Never Dies, the big chainsaw thing I was talking about, you could tell that was CGI. You could tell they had built a model, but anytime it turned on, it like immediately switched to computer images.
I liked, I like that. I like the helicopter turning sideways and the blades and all that coming down the street. I thought that was pretty cool.
That was a cool scene too.
Yeah, and I think the blades were CG, and so that was cool. So again, what happened to this movie? It's like I don't know. It's almost like they were trying to go cheeky.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think they were. They just leaned into it.
All right.
In certain ways, it's fun.
It is. It's very rewatchable.
Like I didn't hate any of these movies. I didn't hate watching them, but man, some of the Craig movies are so much better.
Do you want to?
So much better.
Do you want to talk about the new one? I know we haven't seen it, but do you want to show the trailer for the new movie?
Yeah.
All right. Sure. Should we do a synopsis or just we show the trailer?
Let's just show the trailer. I think that'll be enough of one.
This is the trailer for No Time to Die.
Why would I betray you?
We all have our secrets. We just didn't get to yours yet.
The world is arming faster than we can respond. Where's 007?
I need a favor, brother. You're the only one I trust for this.
The world's moved on, Commander Bond.
You were 00?
2 years. So stay in your lane. You get in my way, I will put a bullet in your knee. The one that works.
I thought you two would get along.
Name? Bond. James Bond.
So you're not dead?
Hello, Q. I've missed you.
It's the most valuable asset this country has. If you feel yourself losing control,
I'm not going to lose control.
James, you gave up everything for her. When her secret finds its way out, it'll be the death of him.
What is it?
You don't know what this is?
James Bond. License to kill. History of violence. I could be speaking to my own reflection. Only your skills die with your body. Mine will survive long after I'm gone.
History isn't kind to men who play God.
No Time to Die. It looks pretty good. It looks
I
pretty
think
good,
so
I
too,
must
yeah.
say. So hopefully the pattern stands and this one's going to be good. Do we know about the COVID plan for release? Is it?
It's
when's it set to come
still
out?
November for right now because it was scheduled for April, but I think they rolled it back to November, so that's pretty interesting. But we'll see because I don't know. Like a lot of the movies that were expected to open in July keep getting pushed back or delayed. But the rest of the world, they were talking about the rest of the world has handled COVID better, or there's like showing less infections. So like this movie Tenet, the new Christopher Nolan movie, it's supposed to be out this month, but they're not going to release it because the theaters are still kind of in a weird area and they don't want to. We don't have it covered, but in the rest of the world they're going to. So it's going to be a big, huge movie, and then we're not going to get it for months if we get it at all. And for Bond, hopefully it could be the same. I mean, hopefully we get it in November, but it could be the same thing where the rest of the world gets it long before we do.
Yeah.
So, interesting.
I don't know why they haven't done more of the digital releases. I felt like that was a really good idea that they just, I guess they just want.
Sorry, I meant to show Pierce Brosnan earlier. A little Pierce Brosnan Halle Berry action going on, but anyway. Well, you mean as far as releasing them at home first?
Yeah, I mean, they did it with Emma. They did it with The Invisible Man. Some Disney movie or other. They did it with. Like, I mean, I know they want to recoup as much as they can, but
it's not that. It's. I mean, the theaters are they're the ones that are going to be impacted by that.
Yeah.
In fact, Universal did Trolls. I don't know if you remember that. They released that at home, and that's what caused AMC to. They were going to boycott all of Universal's future movies. Mm-hmm. But AMC is in such bad shape that they actually, I don't know if you guys saw that, like a couple days ago, they agreed to Universal's terms. So for future, I don't know about for other theaters or other companies, but for future movies, instead of waiting the 3-month window that they've been doing between theatrical and home video, they're going to do 3 weekends, which is less than, it's a little over 2 weeks. So basically a movie's going to come out, and then 3 weekends later, you'll be able to get it from home.
That makes sense. I never understood the long wait. Anyway.
Well, it gives the theaters their window. And
yeah,
as I said before, as much as I love going to the theaters, though, I do love going to the movies. I love the movies. But I hate that because it's like an artificially propped up business to me because I feel like people would choose home if they could.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so we'll see. Like, yeah, but you're right. It is, they got to recoup some of the costs the studios do. And so what does that look like? Like, is enough people buy it at home, or are movies just going to have to be cheaper and less salaries for the talent? I don't know. It's going to change things.
I can't imagine theaters returning to the full capacity they were ever at this point, because it's so much easier to have home theaters now and streaming, and you know, it's cheaper now. TVs are getting cheaper and all of that, and there's just no stopping the home theater, you know, switch to home theaters. I mean, I love theaters too, and there's still, I think you can still be a thriving theater, but there probably won't be as many of them, would be my guess. But
in a weird way, I feel like if people know that it's going to be out in like 2 weeks, I think they're going to see it and say, "Oh, I'll just wait 2 weeks and watch it at home." I think it's going to have a really adverse effect. Like if you did it the same day as the movies, I in some weird way, I think people might actually make a decision in that time. Like, oh, I can go to the movies or I can watch it at home. But like, I feel like the fact that you put such a close window, it's going to really kill it. I think it's just going to destroy the theaters.
I don't think so. I think there'll still be. Well, it depends on the movie too, but. With Marvel movies, I'll go see every Marvel movie in theater, no matter if it's the same day or not.
Well, man, I get that, but like for Bond, so if Bond came out and it was like in theaters and then 2 weeks later it'd be at home, would you go to the theaters to see it?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I honestly,
this one maybe, yeah.
I honestly don't know what I would do. I mean, I love going to the theater, but it is, you know, it'd be so much more convenient and cheaper to watch it at home. So.
The other interesting, ironic fact is that people are just ready to get out of their house and do anything. So if they're able to go to the movies again, I think you'll see a lot of them go, at least at first.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you, but I also feel like people are going to be freaked out by going to the movies because it's going to be, you know, sitting in the dark with strangers. So, you know,
you must wear a glow-in-the-dark mask.
Well, not just that, but like, yeah, people aren't going to wear their mask in a theater, and as soon as the lights go out, if the rule is to wear a mask, you know they're going to take it off, and if they're eating pop, I don't know, it just seems weird.
That's true, yeah.
So
it'll have to be distancing, and though a lot of the like movie tavern, like the tavern model, the seats are already pretty far apart. I feel like you could just do every half capacity and you'd be spaced out, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, yeah, and again, I really do love going to the theater, and I'm excited to go back. But it's
I was so happy they put in an Alamo Drafthouse near us.
Oh yeah, I love Alamo Drafthouse, but yeah, I just feel like this virus really is. I mean, I feel like that industry was kind of dying anyway with the streaming, but I feel like this virus just is. I'd be surprised if AMC makes it out of this because they were really depending on Christopher Nolan's movie to open up. They were kind of banking on that. Yeah. So we'll see.
All right, so I have gone through tediously and researched the nuke laser counts and found some kind of surprising results. Okay, so the first result isn't too surprising. In the books, Kelley, can you guess how many lasers are in the books?
Ooh. I'm going to say 6.
So I found 0.
What?
Because lasers weren't really invented until the end of when he was writing I think laser was 1960.
Whoa.
So like Moonraker was not. There was no lasers. It was just a nuclear missile.
So that was solely created for the movies, like because it feels like that's like a staple of James Bond. These big satellites shooting lasers, like GoldenEye and all that. That's
not in the books.
Interesting.
So the laser was invented the first one in 1960, but it probably didn't become popularized for at least a year or two after that. Now they may have known about the technology before then, but yeah, I didn't find any mention of, and it was kind of a cursory. It wasn't tedious research, but it was cursory. But Kelley, can you think of a laser in any of the books? I can't.
I guess not, but in my mind, they were in there.
Right? So, okay, and now for nukes.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, for nukes in the book, I only found 2. 2 books, Moonraker and Thunderball. And then the book after Thunderball kind of takes over right after the book and mentions the nukes that he hijacked, that Blofeld hijacked. But
again, that's another staple of the movies. I feel like every movie is him trying to disarm some nuclear weapons.
Yep. There's a couple mentions of like a threat of nuclear warfare, but there's not actually a nuclear bomb involved in the plot. That Bond
in Octopussy, wasn't he trying to stop that? Wasn't he trying to disarm a bomb? And at the end of that one, that's what he like.
In the movie, yes. I'm talking about just the books.
No, I get that. But I'm saying that wasn't they didn't borrow that plot exactly from the book? Okay.
No, Octopussy was about a guy fighting an octopus in the ocean.
Yep.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it was just a short story, and it barely had Bond.
Need to rewatch your part 14.
Yeah, you should really listen to James Bond Here and There, episode 4. All right, now the movies. This is interesting. If you had to guess, out of what are they, 23, 24 now? Is the next one is 24, right?
I thought it was 25, but okay, go ahead.
To Die is at 25. Okay, so out of the 24 movies up till now, how many nukes and how many lasers?
Maybe. Oh, I don't know. Now I'm laser shy.
All right, it's an equal number. There are 9 in each.
9. Okay. So 6 was kind of close in the movies, at least. Okay.
Tomorrow Never Dies. The World Is Not Enough. Diamonds Are Forever. Dr. No had a nuclear reactor. Goldfinger. Obviously, he wanted to nuke the money to radiate it. Thunderball. Spy Who Loved Me. You Only Live Twice. And Octopussy. All had nuclear bombs or the threat, or like a nuclear missile that might have gone off. And then lasers were in various movies throughout. Wow. And with the Golden Gun, remember, it was like a huge laser.
Including Die Another Day.
Goldfinger, Diamonds Are Forever had lasers. Moonraker, obviously. Live and Let Die. The Gate of Laser watching that one.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to think of what the laser was.
Never Say Never Again had a laser, if we're including that. Die Another Day. A lot of the Brosnan ones did. GoldenEye, License to Kill. Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There was a laser in the Polaroid camera in License to Kill.
Yeah, I looked it up. Is the next one coming out is the 25th film. I don't know if that's including Never Say Never Again. And it's James Bond is the 4th highest grossing film series behind Marvel Cinematic Universe, Star Wars, and Harry Potter.
Wow. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was your favorite book, Mark?
Oh, man. Favorite book. Gosh. I'm split between, between Dr. No and Casino Royale. Those were my 2 favorites.
Yeah. I think I would agree, actually. I'll say Dr. No is my favorite, Casino Royale 2nd favorite, Moonraker 3rd favorite.
What's your least favorite?
I think my least favorite would be, what was the one where he was in he spent the whole time in the woods, the cabin in the wood type thing, or the hotel in the woods.
It's the first part of the Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, which...
Yeah, exactly. I forget what was it, For Your Eyes Only, or...
The Spy Who Loved Me, I think it was.
Maybe it was, yeah.
Because it was narrated by the woman.
Right. Yes. So that one just didn't seem like a Bond movie, kind of like we were talking about with the License to Kill.
Yeah, I didn't get into Diamonds Are Forever. I don't think as much the book.
Yeah, that's true. I remember not liking that one very much either. Okay, what about Bond? Favorite Bond of all time?
Ooh, I think it's Daniel Craig for me.
Oh man, see, I was gonna say that, but now I gotta go Sean Connery. I have to. It's in my blood.
But I agree so much with what you were saying earlier in the episode about how they all bring something kind of essential to it. Like now at the end, having seen them all, there's something to like about everybody. Even Roger Moore, there's something like.
Okay, what's something you like about it? Then I'm just curious. How'd you say that?
It's calling you out. What do you actually like?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I guess I wasn't prepared.
You got nothing,
to call
okay?
out on that,
Okay, you got nothing.
I don't hate him. There is some things. If I thought about it, I could come up with something.
His work ethic.
Wait, you just did books, right? You haven't picked your favorite Bond movie?
Correct.
Not movie, no. But
what's your favorite movie then?
Actor. So my favorite movie would be Daniel Craig movie. Would be Casino Royale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Iron Man for me. Just that first reboot of the thing. I'm like, so good.
Same director did Casino Royale and GoldenEye. For both of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Martin Campbell.
Nice.
So yeah, he did some of the better ones. But yeah, Casino Royale is probably my favorite Bond movie.
So that's what I was going to ask about. Who's directing No Time to Die?
I'm blanking on his name, but he did the first season of True Detective.
So it's different. Because didn't Sam Mendes do Spectre?
And Skyfall.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's the True Detective guy, and I've liked what I've seen of his stuff.
Okay.
So I'm pretty excited about that. It's kind of the end of an era, I guess. But
yeah,
Daniel Craig is a really good Bond, and that's it's a toss up, but for me between him and Sean Connery. But then I like Pierce Brosnan a lot in the role.
Yeah.
I really do. They're my top three. I don't know the exact order, but that doesn't leave much behind that, because then it's probably I don't know. I'd probably pick fourth one would probably be Timothy Dalton, and then it's like, do I pick Roger Moore or George Lazenby? I don't know for the last one.
I like Lazenby. It's so hard to like. Obviously, he didn't get enough time to stack up to any of the others because you can't judge. I mean, if one of any of the others had to stand on their own, like if you could pick one Roger Moore movie and that had to be all true. You could, he might not be much to think of anyway. But
if it were Diamonds Are Forever, especially,
I feel like all of the other Bond actors had their first movie was one of their best. Like I love Dr. No, we love GoldenEye, we love Casino Royale. The Living Daylights is so much better than the License to Kill. Yeah. So I don't know, and I like Live and Let Die. You guys hate that movie, but I like that movie. So I don't know. But
I don't remember saying I hated it, did I?
But on Her Majesty's Secret Service, I like the movie. I don't know what it is about it. Like it's the only one out of the series, out of the first movies for the actor. That's the only one that that didn't help the actor. And it's unfair to him because Sean Connery came right back. It's almost like when you ask someone who took over for Sean Connery, they're going to say Roger Moore, and it's like, well, that's not true exactly. So I don't know. It's unfair to him.
Sorry, George.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so you guys have finished your series. It's crazy because when Micah and I did the Batman one, which we'll post here pretty soon whenever we get that all finished, get it ready. I found them recently. I thought I'd lost them, but anyway, we did that one pretty fast. We were kind of boom, boom, boom. You guys have we've been doing this like 4 years, right? Is it 3 years, 4 years? I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, it is.
And so
it does not feel like that long.
So I'm actually I'm really attached to this podcast. I'm really sad that there's no more Kelley and Mark talking about Bond.
who knows? We may do a little special addendum episode once No Time to Die comes out.
I think we should.
I think that would be fun. But there are going to be some future stuff. We are continuing this series. I know Micah and Laura, they're going to do one really soon. So I'm not going to spoil exactly what it is, but they'll be doing that. And then Kelley, Topher, and I are going to be doing one, and that's going to be later. It's going to be after Micah's. So that'll be fun. Kelley, do you want to announce? Do you want to go ahead and say what it is, or do you think it's too early?
I'm excited about it. I want y'all to announce, but you don't have to.
Only reason I didn't say Micah's was because it's like I don't know if it's mine to tell yet. I don't know if he wants me to or not. But with ours, I'm cool with it either way. If you want to.
Yeah. Go for it. I think we should.
So we're gonna do here and there on the Hannibal Lecter books.
Yeah.
Which so there's 4 of them. And we should have that sometime around September and October, so it'll be kind of cool doing that series. 4 books, 5 movies.
Yeah, I'm excited. That's going to be really fun.
And
I might read the books along with y'all, or at least the first one.
Yeah, I think it'll be a blast. It'll be the first here and there. We have 3 people, so we'll see how that plays out. And I'm really, really excited about it. And yeah, like I said, that'll be in October. And we'll also be doing the 31 Days of Horror again. This year, it's going to be with the Friday the 13th movies. Pretty excited about that. Next week, we're doing Kelly's long lost Keira Knightley episode. Finally, that's for a Good, Bad, and Podcast.
Yep.
And then 2 weeks from that, Topher and I will be doing another episode of 50/50. Where we're going to be talking about The Creeping Terror and Forrest Gump. So we have a lot of stuff coming out at you over the next several months. Oh, and I'm still so excited about my Good Bad Podcast topic. I tease that every episode we go on. We're getting closer and closer.
Next, right, Charles?
Yeah, well, yours are next. Okay. It's you.
Oh, okay. I don't.
So
but
tomorrow you gotta have picks ready. Or not tomorrow. I mean next week.
I was about to say what tomorrow?
Next week. Okay. Next week. You can't punt it to me because unless you want me to go back to back because I want to do October. Yeah. Now I can go back to back if you want me to, if that would help you. But I got to have October.
No, I'll have them.
Is it going to be appearances by? I don't know. Who are you going to do?
Meg White.
Meg White. Okay.
Meg White.
Because we're going to do the same movies.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, no. I like I said, I know I keep teasing, and my picks for my topic are solid. I rewatched some movies, made sure because I've had plenty of time to think it through. You guys are going to hate me, and you probably won't even think I'm serious when I tell you the topic. But it'll be fun.
Be good. I'm excited.
You guys will hate me after making you watch these 3 films.
I just can't. I mean, what is left to see after we've seen Tusk and Listomania and...
That was mine.
You're only naming ugly films, though.
I'm just thinking about all the things we've seen together over the years, Charles.
Well, I would say that these movies, you haven't seen anything yet.
Wow.
I would say...
Oh, no.
I would say at least 2 of them. 2 of them you probably have never heard of. But I'm not sure if you've seen any of them.
Okay.
I will give you a clue. It's not a very good clue, but I will tell you one of the movies is a Japanese film.
Okay.
But that's all you're getting.
But it's not scary. It's not going to make me poop in my pants.
It's not. It's not scary in this. No.
I'm troubled by your hesitation, Charles.
Some people might be horrified by them, but I don't know. We'll see. It's there. I would consider them. They have horror aspects, if that helps. But I wouldn't call any of them scary.
Okay, I'm trusting you on that.
There's no supernatural aspects at all. None of that stuff. No ghosts. None of that. I'll tell you that.
Okay, fair enough.
And again, like I said, at least 2 of them, I'm fairly confident neither one of you heard of them.
Okay.
But one of them is a Japanese movie, so.
Okay.
All right. We should wrap this baby up, probably.
Yep.
Well, what would a 4-year-long series be without a 4-hour-long final?
Does it feel long to you guys? I've had a blast doing this. Now you say this is long.
No, I have too, but we've rambled quite a bit.
We did. It's a 2-hour one, and I'm all out of martini. So
that's right.
Look at you.
As Bond would want it.
Bond would want it. It's delicious.
Normally we would say James Bond will return, but James Bond here and there will not return.
That is so sad.
Except for No Time to Die. We'll come back
No Time to Die.
And any other future Bond movie, whenever they announce their next. Oh, I do one more thing. Who do you think should be the next Bond? You guys have any thoughts on that? Yeah? I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I could go for Idris Elba.
Cool. All right. See, that was fast.
As soon as I heard that,
I think Richard Madden could be kind of interesting. I don't know if he's been in talks or not, but I like him.
Someone said the guy that plays Loki, Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
I don't know about him. I like him, but I just don't feel like it's the right fit.
No, I don't think so. I think it's a bunch of like 19 to 23-year-old girls that really loved Loki and had a crush on Loki and want him to be Bond. Not that there's anything wrong with that age group.
I don't know. It's oddly specific. Okay.
It's just the feeling I get of people who loved him as Loki. Like, ooh, Tom Hiddleston. We want him.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't think he'd be good for it.
Okay.
I just want to be clear. I have no offense towards 19 to 23-year-old girls who like Tom Hiddleston. Just don't think they're representative of the James Bond audience.
Okay.
Probably not.
All right. Anyway.
All right.
Thank you all for loyally listening to this podcast, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, it's been a blast. So thanks for going on the journey with us. Thank you both for being such fun discussion partners, as always.
Fun. All right. Have a good one, guys.